Hello and welcome to Curiosity Chronicles. For today's top 10 list, we are going to be talking about 10 of the worst and most evil dictators in human history based on the number of deaths they are believed to be responsible for. So a fair warning that today's episode talks about many very dark chapters of human history. Let's get started. Starting at number 10 is Ivan the Terrible. Ivan the Terrible was the first Tsar of Russia, ruling from 1547 to 1584. He is infamous for his brutal reign, which saw the deaths of around 60,000 people. Ivan's rule began with reforms aimed at centralizing power, but over time he became increasingly paranoid and violent. One of his most notorious acts was the Oprichnina, a policy that involved creating a secret police force to crush opposition and eliminate anyone he considered a threat. This led to widespread terror and mass executions. Ivan's reign marked a dark period in Russian history, leaving a legacy of fear and oppression. Moving on to number 9 is Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler, also known as Vlad III or Vlad Dracula, was a ruler of Wallachia, which is a region in present-day Romania. He ruled 3 separate times between 1448 and 1477. Vlad earned his grim nickname because of his preferred method of punishing enemies, which is, well, impalement. He is infamous for being responsible for the deaths of around 80,000 people, including men, women, and children. His reign was marked by extreme cruelty, and he used terror to maintain control and fend off invading forces like the Ottoman Empire. Vlad's brutal methods and the sheer scale of his killings have made him a figure of both horror and fascination throughout history. Coming in at number 8 is Idi Amin. Idi Amin was the military dictator of Uganda from 1971 to 1979. His rule is remembered as one of the most brutal in modern history, with an estimated 300,000 to 500,000 people dying due to his policies and actions. Amin seized power in a military coup, and his regime was marked by widespread human rights abuses, including torture, extrajudicial killings, and ethnic persecution. He targeted anyone he saw as a threat, including political rivals, intellectuals, and entire ethnic groups. Amin's reign of terror led to economic collapse and international isolation for Uganda, leaving a legacy of fear and devastation that the country struggled to recover from for many years. Moving on to number 7 is Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was the president of Iraq from 1979 to 2003, ruling with an iron fist and leaving a legacy of brutality. His regime was responsible for the deaths of between 250,000 and 1 million people. Saddam maintained his grip on power through widespread repression, including mass executions, torture, and the use of chemical weapons against his own people, most notoriously in the 1988 Halabja attack, where thousands of Kurdish civilians were killed. His aggressive policies also led to devastating wars, including the Iran-Iraq War and the invasion of Kuwait, which sparked the Gulf War. Saddam's rule caused immense suffering and left Iraq deeply scarred by violence and instability. Number 6 is Pol Pot. Pol Pot was the leader of the Khmer Rouge, a communist regime that ruled Cambodia from 1975 to 1979. His brutal policies led to the deaths of an estimated 1.5 to 2 million people, roughly a quarter of Cambodia's population at the time. Pol Pot aimed to create a classless agrarian society, forcing people out of cities and into rural labor camps. He targeted intellectuals, professionals, religious leaders, and anyone he considered an enemy of his vision, often executing them or leaving them to die from starvation, disease, or exhaustion. The period of his rule is known as the Cambodian Genocide and was a very dark chapter of human history. Moving on to number 5 brings us to Leopold II. Leopold II, King of Belgium, was responsible for the deaths of approximately 10 million people during his brutal rule over the Congo Free State from 1885 to 1908. Leopold claimed the Congo as his personal property and exploited its resources, particularly rubber, through a system of forced labor. The indigenous population was subjected to horrific abuse, including mutilation, torture, and mass killings, all in the name of maximizing profits. Families were torn apart, and entire communities were destroyed. The atrocities committed under Leopold's regime led to one of the most devastating human tragedies of the colonial era, and his actions have left a lasting scar on the history of the Congo. Coming in at number 4 is Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was the dictator of Nazi Germany from 1933 to 1945 and is responsible for the deaths of approximately 19 million people. His extremist ideology, rooted in racism and anti-Semitism, led to the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews were systematically murdered. Hitler's policies also targeted other groups, including Romani people, disabled individuals, political dissidents, and others he deemed undesirable. His aggressive expansionist ambitions triggered World War II, resulting in the deaths of millions more through warfare, genocide, and brutal occupations. Hitler's reign of terror brought unimaginable suffering and changed the course of history, leaving a legacy of horror that continues to be remembered and studied worldwide. Number 3 is Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin was the leader of the Soviet Union from the mid-1920s until his death in 1953, and his regime is estimated to be responsible for the deaths of approximately 40 million people. Stalin's rule was marked by widespread purges, forced labor camps known as gulags, and brutal policies that caused mass starvation, particularly during the Great Famine in Ukraine, known as the Holodomor. He maintained control through fear, eliminating perceived enemies within the Communist Party, military, and general population. Stalin's policies of collectivization and industrialization were enforced with ruthless efficiency, resulting in immense human suffering. His legacy is one of immense cruelty, repression, and a profound impact on Soviet society. Moving on to number 2, Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, the founder of the Mongol Empire, is estimated to be responsible for the deaths of around 40 million people during his conquests in the 13th century. Under his leadership, the Mongol army launched a series of invasions across Asia and Europe, creating the largest contiguous empire in history. Genghis Khan's military campaigns were marked by extreme brutality, including mass slaughter of civilian populations, often as a strategy to instill fear and force surrender. Cities and entire regions were devastated, with populations either killed or enslaved. While his rule brought about significant cultural and economic changes, it also left behind a legacy of death and destruction that reshaped the demographics of entire regions. Finally, number 1 is Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong, the founding father of the People's Republic of China, ruled from 1949 until his death in 1976, and his policies are believed to have caused the deaths of 55 to 70 million people. Mao's rule was marked by radical and often disastrous campaigns, such as the Great Leap Forward, which aimed to rapidly industrialize China but instead led to one of the deadliest famines in history. His Cultural Revolution further plunged the country into chaos, as millions were persecuted, tortured, or killed in the name of eliminating counter-revolutionary elements. Mao's vision of transforming China into a socialist utopia came at an enormous human cost, making him one of history's deadliest dictators. And those are the 10 most evil dictators of all time based off the number of deaths they were responsible for. Thank you for watching, as always. If you enjoyed these videos and you haven't already, it would really make my day if you clicked on the subscribe button. Until next week, stay curious.